In 2019, a couple from Pennsylvania was expecting a baby, and in the summer of that year, their baby was born. However, the infant would tragically die several hours later from respiratory problems. In the following days, there was a funeral, a GoFundMe page was started to raise money for the devastated parents, and friends showered them with gift cards, groceries, and money just to help them out during this difficult period. And while the young mother grieved the loss of her baby, a close friend of hers was heading to police with a story that would turn everyone's sympathy into suspicion. 23-year-old Casey Lang and her husband, 27-year-old Jeffrey Lang, lived in a small town near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And when news came that they were pregnant, no one was more excited for them than Casey's friend Cynthia. She even volunteered to host a baby shower for the couple. But soon after that baby shower, around 7 months into Casey's pregnancy, Casey would sort of fall off the map. She stopped seeing friends and became kind of a recluse, claiming she was on bed rest. Then on July 3rd, the big day finally came, and the happy parents announced the birth of their son, Easton Walt Lang, and of course shared a photo on social media of their newborn baby in the hospital. But a few hours later, the couple had to break the sad news that their son Easton had passed away from respiratory distress syndrome. They put out a heartfelt post on Facebook where they received sympathetic comments and prayers over the loss of their son. They also posted a link to a GoFundMe page where they were raising money for their son's funeral and medical expenses, and encouraged as many people as possible to share the link. That GoFundMe page would end up raising $550. But Casey's friend Cynthia, the one who had thrown her a baby shower, wasn't buying it. She had grown suspicious of her friend months into her pregnancy when she was barely showing a baby bump. Then after she was told baby Easton had passed away, she called up the funeral home where Casey claimed he was cremated, and what she learned sent her straight to police. Cynthia goes to police, telling them, "Hey, I called up the funeral home, and they said there's no record of Easton Walt Lang ever being cremated there." That's when police decided to do some digging of their own. They first checked with the hospital where Casey had given birth, and discovered there was no record of Casey being admitted there, or baby Easton being delivered there. So they checked with the coroner's office, and there was no record of Easton having died. In fact, there was no proof anywhere that this baby ever existed. At this point, police were like, okay, this is extremely odd, none of this is adding up, we need to get inside this couple's home. So police searched the home of Casey and Jeffrey Lang, and what they would find would stun everybody. Inside the house, police find this lifelike doll which looked exactly like a real baby. The face, the skin, all of it was just super realistic. It would turn out that all of the photos the Langs had been sharing through texts and on social media wasn't of their new son Easton, but rather this realistic doll they kept inside their house. They would dress it up, wrap a blanket around it, pose it in different positions, making it look like a legitimate photo of a newborn baby. Casey and Jeffrey Lang were arrested and charged with theft by deception, theft by unlawful taking of movable property, and receiving stolen property. According to Casey's mom, Christina, Casey Lang dealt with her fair share of mental health issues. She had been on medication for bipolar disorder, ADHD, and a mood disorder since she was 8 years old, but stopped taking those medications when she was 18. Christina was one of the many people deceived by her daughter. She was shown sonograms and threw her daughter a gender reveal party. Even when baby Easton died, she organized his funeral and helped pay for the engraved urn, though no one knows for sure what was inside the urn since no real baby was ever cremated. Christina was quoted as saying, "We all sat there and bawled our eyes out. None of us had any idea. We sat and cried over a baby doll." Christina would later admit that she did become suspicious when her daughter didn't want anyone at the hospital during the delivery and only had 2 photos of Easton after he was born. But maybe Christina should have been more suspicious from the beginning, because she would go on to say something that suggested maybe this wasn't the first time her daughter had pulled the fake baby routine. 3 years earlier, when Casey was just 20 years old, she had allegedly given birth to a daughter named Delilah. And just like with baby Easton, Delilah also died shortly after birth. Christina had her suspicions about that pregnancy as well, and even called up the hospital where her daughter supposedly gave birth and was told they had no record of Delilah being born there. Nonetheless, the family sort of accepted it and supported their daughter, held a funeral for Delilah, and spent thousands on commemorative t-shirts and food. In June 2021, nearly 2 years after her scam was uncovered, Casey Lang was sentenced to 2 years probation for faking a pregnancy in order to obtain a gift, and was ordered to pay over $2,000 in restitution. I wasn't able to find anything on her husband Jeffrey's sentence, but I can only assume it was something similar to what Casey received. That's it for today's episode. If you find these scam videos interesting or helpful to you, be sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you can be alerted every time I post a new scam. Remember, hearing about it just may save you from falling for it. So, until next time, keep your eyes open for scams.